He never intended that. You were not supposed to get married in darkness. But some men are married in darkness. They're ignorant. And most women marry dark men. Hello? I've met a lot of white men who are very dark. And I've met a lot of black men who are very light, like me. Full of knowledge. What you want to do is you want to do what Paul says. Walk in the light as he is in the light. Then you'll have what? Fellowship. You can get along with people when you are both in the same light. Now, if you are in light and you marry a woman who's in darkness, then you are unequally yoked. And it happens all the time. Even doing business. You might be in light and your business partner in darkness and you ain't speaking the same language. Different values, different convictions, different morals. That's why it's important for you young men to marry women who are under the same teaching you're getting. Sometimes you go looking for men, for women, or whatever. Some of you women go looking for boys out there because they can't find nobody in church. Well, you'll be amazed what you try to bring in church afterwards. You don't be a man of light and go in darkness looking for something. You want to be in the kingdom of light. The kingdom of darkness will destroy you. So a kingdom father is a father who's under the influence of God's government. Let's talk then about the introduction of this kingdom. The first person to introduce the kingdom back to earth is Jesus Christ. In Matthew 8, verse 42, I want to read this verse with you, and you can go with me to the board and write this down in your notes. It says in Matthew 8:42, Christ began to talk about the priority he placed on his Father. So I want the men to listen carefully because I want to show you how Jesus wants all men to think about fatherhood. He goes in verse 42 and says, if God was your father, you would love me, for I came from my Father, and now I am here. Jesus is stating here, I am a product of my Father. Now it's amazing that Mary carried Jesus for 9 months. But Jesus refused to say he came from her. How come most men talk about their mothers all the time? When there's a big game somewhere, basketball, football, and as soon as the game is over, the media puts a mic in one of the men's face, did the MVP player, and he says, what do you say? He says, I want to thank my mom. You never hear them thank their fathers. Christ begins by saying, I appreciate Mary. She did a great job laboring me for 9 months, but I came from my Father. In other words, you will carry the genes, not of your mother, but of your father. The powerful father dictates the quality of a son. Matthew 8:44, he goes on to say, you belong to your father, the devil. He's referring to the people who were criticizing him. And you want to carry out your father's desire. He was a murderer from the beginning, and he is a liar and the father of lies. He's referring to satanic influence. By the way, the words up there should actually be stepfather. It's important. Write that down, please. Jesus says, you are of your stepfather, the devil. You see, originally, Satan is no man's father. If you have children, and they are from your loins, and then I come and take over your house, and begin to take over your kids, they call me your stepfather, don't they? But that's exactly what happened to man. Man was created by God. God was his father. And in Genesis 3, man left the house and became under the influence of another father. Christ says that father is your stepfather. He's the devil. And he says you belong to your father and you want to do the desires of your father. The power of a father influences the behavior of a child. You are not naturally evil, but you picked up the spirit of a stepfather who is evil. Notice it says he's a liar from the beginning. He taught us how to lie real good. We do what our father taught us. But look at this next statement here. Jesus begins to speak about his father, John 20, verse 17. And he says, do not hold on to me. He's referring to Mary, of course. He's just resurrected. And he says, before I go, he says, behold, he says, I go to my Father, and